Rooted in resilience, inspired by nature, powered by movement. The podcasts where healing meets empowerment. Let's rise and thrive together. And now, here are your hosts, Scott and Melissa.
Hey, everybody. We just wanted to pop in and let you know about our Sedona Soul Retreat coming up in June of 2026, June 2nd through the 6th in Sedona, Arizona. Where we're going to have it at?
The Briar Patch.
Briar
This
Patch.
beautiful, it's just this amazing little nugget.
Yeah.
In Sedona, where you think the big red rocks, which you'll see those, of course. But then there's this little sanctuary of green. And one of my dear beings that just shared with me this morning that they will be attending, looked it up and was like, oh, that's my place.
Yeah.
They just like felt the connection, and it's very spiritual energy there. And we're excited for holding space for all of us to be in that frequency, that vibration.
It's right on Oak Creek, and we were down there just a few weeks ago checking it out to ensure it was the right fit for our folks. And we are excited about this retreat. It's our second retreat, and we're on our way to selling out. So please check it out at Vital Edge Wellness Coaching Wellness Retreats. You'll see it vitalwellnesscoaching.com, wellness retreats, and sign up. Bring a friend. There's plenty of room. If you'd like double occupancy, you can come down, and we have private cottages and a lodge setting. So that's it.
It's exciting.
Enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, we'll see you there. All right.
Welcome to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge. You caught us in the middle of finalizing what we're doing today.
That's the truth.
It is the truth. We're flying around like the rest of you. So we need a grounding moment.
Yeah.
How about it?
Sounds good.
All right. Let's get into a grounding moment before we talk about being calm in the middle of chaos.
So let's find some calm. So wherever you're at, take a seat or stand.
Or lay down.
Or lay down. Or drive carefully. Proceed. If you choose to, you're welcome to join us and close your eyes and let a big sigh come through, in through the nose, out through the mouth. So relaxing your jaw and softening your tongue. And let this just be very simple. Lean into the simplicity of the moment to just be aware. Feeling your eyes relax a little deeper, even if they're open. Again, your jaw and tongue release a little more. And then tap in with us for a moment just to feel that simplicity of your body doing what it's doing for you all day long. That ease of an inhale, the gentleness of your exhale. If your mind starts to wander, just gently bring it back. A few more moments. Simplicity of your inhale. Simplicity of your exhale. Feel that softness come over your face once again. A nice gentle sigh. And realizing those few moments, a little hug and reset came to your nervous system, and you came back. You came into the present moment. You can open your eyes if they were closed.
All right. Thank you. That was great. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you next time.
Yeah, bye. I'm calm. Chaos is dissolved. But that's our hope today, to support ourselves and each of us in finding that center that is inside all of us, to remain calm and steady, even amongst the craziness, the busyness, the whirlwinds.
It's another opportunity to remember we're human doings in our day-to-day life, and we're actually would do well to show up as human beings.
Yeah.
Which is our true nature. And today our focus is going to be more inward and more about what we can do to regulate calm in the midst of a very hectic and chaotic world. And it feels like it's only getting more hectic. It feels like it's only getting more, for some people, the political environment, the world events, things being dismantled, programs and governments and structures. We're in a weird time in employment where there's no hire, no fire, where people are just kind of staying put. Nobody's hiring, nobody's firing. I see this every day in my work in organizations, and I know Melissa sees it every day with her individuals, on how this energy flows through our bodies. Mm-hmm. Even if we don't acknowledge it outwardly, we're being affected by it. And we want to help you to learn how to be calm, because calm is not avoidance, it's capacity.
I love that, yes.
And we need more capacity.
Mm-hmm. So it's replenishing that. And, part of it is first and foremost is that awareness of your body absorbing it, noticing that if you're feeling that agitation or that fight or flight, ways your body's going into survival, and you're just so that first step is becoming aware of it. And then what we wanted to support each of us today, including ourselves, is those tools, those everyday moments that can help your physical body, which very connected to your emotional and spiritual body, right?
No difference, yeah.
To be able to regulate those background waves. And you mentioned about just the chaos around and all the big stuff, right? And you mentioned people being in fear, and personally having lived kind of in a fear-based childhood, always being watchful, always being, I've kept a distance from the news and all of that stuff going on. And what I'm noticing now just is it's getting closer and closer and closer to home.
What's it?
So more of the stress, more of the worries, like, you hear about stuff on the news, the big things happening. And then next thing I know, I hear about someone getting harmed in the Costco parking lot, which is not far from us. And that to me is like, that's getting in closer to where I realize my nervous system, my body's picking up on that. So now I noticed in the last few times driving around town, I'm a little more heightened than I have been.
Vigilant.
And so even though I've already been, because that's kind of how I was raised, but now I'm feeling it even more. So this is kind of that personal experience that I'm realizing even though I do what I do, I mindfulness practice, I do yoga, I do all these things, right? But I'm becoming aware that my own physical body and its upbringing is as a nervous system that we all are responsible to get to know our own. And that's what Scott and I have been bringing to you with some of these skills and tools to not just tell you what to do, but to have you get to know it, become aware, and realize nothing's wrong with you. This is just you getting to know what your body needs and what you can do to support it when you're feeling the absorption of the stress or the worries or the chaos.
Well, I think taking a step back, you may not even know. You may not even know that you're being affected. And part of our journey with Vital Edge Wellness Coaching and this podcast is to help raise your awareness to see what's truly going on and get out of the tunnel vision that so many people live in, that this is just life, is not an excuse. I mean, it is an excuse. It's
or to think something's wrong with them.
Or the opposite side, right, where you feel too much We want you, it's called regulation for a reason. Part of that process is to acknowledge how loud and fast things feel. And we know that things are going to get faster. And we're just now moving into the year of the fire horse. We've talked about this a little bit before, and all indications are this is a 1 year. We're at the top of the zodiac. All these different philosophical
and astrological
ways of thinking are all pointing to the same thing. It's time to go.
There's an energy
It's time to
shift.
grow. And things are going to start to dissolve that don't work anymore. We're seeing it in government. We're seeing it in social experiments. We're seeing it in countries repivoting and renegotiating with other countries. We're going through a massive transformation, and that can only affect us in our nervous system. We start getting nervous. We start getting worried. We start feeling differently. And to acknowledge how fast and loud things are is to acknowledge, feel differently. How then can I be curious about that? And you just shared a personal moment of the Costco incident here locally, how you normalize that situation. It's not you, and you're not broken. We're just all overstimulated. And it can create divisiveness. And the divisiveness is individuals being overstimulated, not understanding how to talk to other individuals because they don't know how to know about that in themselves. And I'll just finish before I pass it off to you again. I love what you talked about, how you do your yoga and you do your dailies. And I've said for a long time, I don't know how people get through crisis or get through stress without a mindfulness practice, because I struggle sometimes and I have a pretty devout mindfulness practice. And so I'm pitching that mindfulness work, yoga, meditation, grounding, all the things we talk about and we're going to continue to talk about today do make a big difference. And I don't know how people who don't have a practice do it. I worry for them.
Well, and that's what I've been supporting, is that even though I do those things, I want to share that I still have my human experience. I still have my upbringing and not that it was, but we all have an upbringing and we all have different patterns that we put in for survival during different times through, school and middle school and all that kind of stuff that we get to acknowledge and become more aware of, so that we can know when these tools can come in and be supportive to help balance that. And again, Scott was sharing about all the different things going on and us getting swept up in that with all the chaos. And I'm seeing it in individuals. And we have an opportunity here with the energy that's coming to support one another, to not get swept up in that energy and to actually use it for good. And I've seen that happening in some of my clients, being able to harness this energy of moving forward. And I've been teaching it. It's been a kind of a theme in our yoga classes for this month, coming into listening in a different way, listening from that inner source, and then knowing that the season of the horse is coming. And think about what a horse does. It doesn't bolt until it takes in a little bit, takes in its senses, and then it makes that decision. So think of this energy as not just going fast to be fast, but to to come into your center and then take the next right action. So that's what we want to support each of us doing. When we feel we can take a moment, become aware that we're getting really irritable with our loved ones or our pets or our coworkers. And
I saw that with her pet just a little while ago.
Well, I wasn't irritable. I let him do his thing. And that's thinking about those little opportunities through the day, becoming aware of I'm noticing I'm really edgy, and being like, okay, I need to tap into one of these tools that we're going to share in a moment. That's going to help increase my capacity to be with some of that energy moving it through, or be with the particular, coworker that's doing something that's irritating or whatever it may be. But realizing what fight or flight or freeze looks like to you, and become aware of that in your own. Because we all could say fight, flight, or freeze, but we all experience it differently. So we need to become aware of, when does it show up? When do I feel this irritability or urgency? That could be you're ready to just dig in. And then this is a big one. been discussing with my daughter quite a bit is that overthinking and feeling anxious. And it's like, okay, this could be not just you, right? Many people's first go-to is something's wrong. Something's wrong with me. I'm not doing it right. I'm not thinking well. I can't voice my feelings. It's like, pause. We're not trying to blame something else. We're just taking ownership for understanding that we're energy. If we take out of the busy thoughts and just realize, oh, I'm experiencing some energy and it's coming through by being anxious. It's coming through by being a little irritable or finding yourself scrolling on your phone and just like numbing out. Or Maddie and I have really been having a lot of these discussions because she's doing a lot of inner work. I'm doing my inner work. And I just love seeing her reflect on like, oh yeah, because the discussion she shared just this weekend, she's like, in the evening, I could totally read a book and get lost in the story. But she finds herself scrolling one of her shows or scrolling because in a book, she has to be engaged. She's reading, but here she can just kind of numb out. And what she's noticing is then she doesn't worry about all the things she has to do for a minute. She kind of like, it's like an escape. So it's different than reading a book.
Yeah.
And she's realizing that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. That's the awareness, the realization. There's nothing more. Now that she's realized that, she's going to start this mindfulness journey of being aware. Am I numbing out? Is it okay for me to do this for a few moments? Am I going to go pick up my book for a few moments?
Yeah. Balance.
So that's literally what we're playing with here is simply you getting to know yourself and picking up on this and picking up what dysregulation looks like. And it doesn't have to be huge. It could be those subtle little irritations or, you heard something on the news and it's in your background and it's coming across through how you interact with people or yourself.
Yeah. I want to go back to the fact that this isn't an instant fix. This is an exercise in awareness and making minor pivots and adjustments to what feels right in the moment and to see how things may or may not be affecting you. I think comparison's another thing. We're always trying to compare ourselves to others and how they do things and the way they do things. And I would encourage you to find your own rhythm and do what works for you. This is not about perfection. It's about small resets.
Yeah.
All along the way. No different than a plane flying across the country makes different small resets, right? That you don't even feel when you're on the plane, but it's necessary.
Well, that's our suggestions here is like for you to take it in, sit with it, play with them, expose yourself to them, and then see which one just lands. And sometimes you have to keep showing up to it, right? Just keep committing to it. And that's part of, joining me for yoga with optimal living. Thank you. Showing up every week and letting yourself just be supported with that and find what starts to resonate, not from an intellectual, like, I got to do this because then I'll be better. From physical, mental, emotional, your body starts to naturally start to gravitate towards that particular behavior. I love steeping people in, even they're coming to yoga once a week and they're like, oh, should I do this more? How much should I? And I said, nope, just let it do its magic. Just keep showing up and your body soon will start to shift in its posture. It'll start to breathe differently. Some of the skills and techniques will start to show up. I've had so many of my individuals share, like they've had various situations they've had to do and they've implemented their breathing and I get a text message like, oh my gosh, the breathing works. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm living proof of that exact thing over the so many years. And all of a sudden I'm doing a pose I never could do before. And I didn't even know how far I'd come. And it's not about the pose. It's about
letting it be expressed. In your
letting
body.
it be expressed. That's exactly right. I wasn't like, okay, I got to do this. I can totally relate to that.
Well, and I think Scott nailed it. A few moments ago, you said capacity.
Yeah.
That's what this is providing. It isn't a quick fix, like you said. And we're not here to say, do this and you'll be all better. Helping us all increase our capacity. I always like to describe it like, the curtains that hold down at the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
So most of us are walking around like this with this much bandwidth. Not a lot of room. And think about all the different emotions and stressors we have. As soon as it hits a little too high, we're off the scale. But as we start to open those shades on both ends, we have more capacity, more ability to handle the waves and stay grounded. And so I always like to visualize, I'm just increasing my bandwidth. I'm opening up my capacity. So that's ultimately with awareness to get to know your body, to get to know when you feel these fight or flight background things going on, or even very, very much in your face, having that awareness and then learning to say, hey, I have these tools in my pocket to help me increase my capacity and my bandwidth. That's what regulating a nervous system is. It isn't just, I got to regulate it. It's increasing your capacity. I love it. That's it.
I think that we talk a lot about breathing, right? But that 90-second reset when you're focused on your breath is a game changer because you can do that anywhere. You don't need any prompts. You don't need any props either, prompts or props. You can just recognize, I'm getting tight. That guy just cut me off in traffic, or I'm having a discussion with a relative with politics that I don't agree with. You can use that 90 seconds, that's 60 seconds or 30 seconds to reset your breath to keep your nervous system nice and calm so it doesn't kick into fight or flight. And I know you're a big fan of cold water on the face and wrists. Talk a little bit about what that's.
Oh, well,
what that does for you.
Some of my dear clients have their cold plunges in the backyard.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking to. Those are awesome. I often will do a cold shower at the end of my shower, but I don't even know when I started this. It's been years now. I don't ever use, when I just wash my face, I always use cold water. And it's just a way that it's interesting because people think, oh, okay, but your system, when it's in a pattern of stress, needs something to. Anybody ever remember putting the rubber band around your wrist when you use like a diet method, like snap yourself?
Or a cussing method.
Cussing method or whatever, or, your body, what that is not something mean to yourself. It is a little bit of a jolt to your nervous system, your body, to be like, oh, change gears. And that's what the cold water does to help regulate the nervous system. Another tool I want to share is many of you have been exposed to tapping.
Yeah.
Emotional freedom technique. And so I'm going to piggyback what Scott said, the simplicity of the breath. And that's why I started with the breath just being simple today. All you have to do is recognize your breathing. And that puts you back into the nervous system.
Natural.
And some people need a little more when they need a little bit of a jolt out of that tension and stress. So cold water on the face or cold water hands under just underneath the faucet. If you've just had a heated discussion, go to the restroom from a meeting or whatever, or even if you weren't involved in the discussion, but you were in the room and you've felt it, or the emails, whatever has gone on, just excusing yourself or going in cold, because if you can't wash your face at that time, cold hands on the cold water. And then the tapping, the simple one that I like to do, and even you can do, I'm going to give you a public version because, again, some of us are like, I'm not going to draw attention to myself by tapping on my parts. My favorite is just the simple tapping on the sternum. I'll do this just to help when I feel a little, and I've actually picked up on this. I always put my legs up the wall at night before bed. And I have found that even without thinking, it's like intuitively, I know I'm kind of a little bit more tension in the background, and I naturally will start doing this. And I'm like, oh, okay. I felt a little more upregulated, that I needed that extra little. The same action happens if you do this against the heart and just, I call it chest rub, or even just gentle pressure.
Just placing your hand against the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and that could be, if this is the public version, if you didn't want to like sit there and tap on your chest, but that could be simple like that, right? And so these are all little nervous system tricks, so to speak, that can help you in the background when you can't quite figure out, like, how do I calm down? You can support something in your body to help your body do its own shifting, to let the brain realize, okay, we're okay. Nervous body's safe. We can, so, we know one of our favorite ones, feet. Outside. Oh, yeah. You're getting your feet outside on the ground, even if you can't do bare feet, just going out and standing outside.
I suggest you try to do bare feet regardless of the weather.
Well, some of my people have sensitive feet. You know who I'm talking to, which I understand. I want to be compassionate to that.
It's important to
choose something that works for you.
To get outside and be regrounded as electrical beings that we are. So what this changes for you, I think you'll notice pretty quickly, if you can do this for 2 or 3 days, how it affects your decision making, your sleep. It'll show up differently in your relationships. And most importantly, your self-trust, because you're building trust with yourself, capital S self again, that maybe has been dysregulated by outside forces, which create a narrative in us that we start to believe is our true self. And that's not easily done unless you are mindfully practicing to do it. And when you mindfully practice to do these practices,
that sounds good.
Use these tools over time, it becomes your new normal. And then you'll really understand when you feel urgency in your body, and you start to understand when you feel panicky. Sometimes you don't need to know why. Sometimes you just need to respond to reset. It's nice to know why, but I wouldn't spend a lot of time going, why? I would just say, oh, time to tap.
Well,
time to breathe.
Because sometimes what might be coming up is a particular situation is bringing up other memories in your nervous system that you don't know are there. So I always like Scott's statement of a lot of things are coming up to be healed. So when you have another situation in your life that then brings up these emotions or sensations, you don't necessarily have to go to the why. You have to say, hey, body, I see you feeling this, expressing it. I'm going to hold my hand to the heart. I'm going to let myself feel it, breathe, come into that breath, put some cold water on my hands. You don't have to do all these. These are just separate ones. Another one that came to mind that we were talking is just that simple cross method. When you do this little tap thing here, this just helps regulate.
She's tapping her arms for those of you listening.
Yeah, I'm just tapping with my hands crossed over my chest. And last but not least about tools, something even more simple that Scott and I discussed before we got on here is humans need touch and connection. So either your pet or a loved one, just think about what it feels like when somebody puts their hand on your shoulder. Well, excuse me, a person that you trust and feel comfortable with, and that warmth, right? The body receives this feeling of, so that could be going and, if your cat is loving, depends on or your dog, right? And just have that kind of exchange. And I was sharing that Maddie and I will often, she'll just come up for a long hug and we'll just stand there quiet. We literally don't say anything. We just hold each other. I think the stats are more than 20 seconds and you get the benefits, but we just stand there and then we separate and move on. Literally just recharge. So think about what we brought up today and see if one or some of those, maybe you're already doing a couple of them, but now you can bring awareness and intention to it that, oh, look at what I'm doing. Already getting myself a little more capacity with my nervous system.
Ask yourself, what would slowing down look like this week? Set an intention, verbalize it, ask yourself, what would it look like? And then listen. Because calm isn't the absence of chaos. It's your ability to stay with yourself inside of it. Because chaos is outside of us and it can be inside of us, but we can manage the inside chaos. We can't manage that out there. We can just manage our way through it. And that's the real message we wanted you to have today. And we wanted you to have some real tools to cope with an ever-changing world in a time of chaos. We'll touch base on this in future podcasts just to make sure we're using repetition as a tool for you. And we'll talk more about our own stories and how we regulate chaos, because we have plenty of chaos in our personal lives, in our world. But we want to support you. So send us a comment. Let us know how you're managing your regulation in this chaotic world, and rate us and like us. And if you're so inclined, join us for a retreat in June. We have a few spaces left in Sedona, Arizona. And this is the kind of thing we're going to be taking a deeper dive into, that's going to help change you. And when you change, the world changes. So thanks for being with us today on our podcast, Rise and Thrive. We'll see you on the other side. Take care of yourself, and don't forget to take care of each other.
Namaste.
Thanks for tuning in to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. If you found this episode meaningful, please rate, review, and share it with someone who might need it. For upcoming retreats and to join the Vital Edge Wellness community, head to vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com. Let's rise and thrive together.